You're building a business, but are you building wealth? And this is the key question to ask yourself. The number one mistake I see with women entrepreneurs are they are not investing alongside their business. I'm Kelly Gushue, Wall Street insider turned financial coach for women entrepreneurs. And I am excited to talk about the five key investment strategies that women entrepreneurs aren't told. And the truth is that women often don't talk about money. So that's why we are not talking about these investment strategies. And that's why you're here to learn five key investment strategies so that you can build wealth. Welcome to today's masterclass. Let's get started. I'm so excited to be here. Five investment strategies women entrepreneurs haven't been told. Let's first talk about the five key reasons why investing is different for women. And I actually love when men ask me this question, and they are genuinely impressed with the five key details about why investing is different. So, number one is we are in such an exciting time for women in investing. By 2030, women will take control of more than 65% of investable assets here in the US. And this number is 50% globally. We are in the midst of the greatest wealth transfer in history for women. And this is because baby boomers are passing away and they are passing it to their wives and to their children. However, with point number two, women live at least 6 years longer than men. This trend is going to continue for decades. And when I say that women live longer, we need our money to last longer. And I like to think of Ethel Kennedy, who lived until 97. That's what we're talking about, well into our 90s. Ladies, reason number three why investing is different is women earn 20% less than men. We've heard about this gender pay gap. 83 cents on the dollar. And if you're a woman entrepreneur, the great news is you are breaking this trend. So we need to invest so that our money is working for us. Reason number four is women often take time off to take care of children and or aging parents. When I speak on stages, this is the question that I love to ask is how many women in the audience have taken time off to take care of children? And 3/4 of the hands are raised. And then when I ask how many women have taken time off for aging parents, at least half of the women raise their hand. I'm usually speaking at women's conferences. And so we need to have more financial flexibility. And I have taken some time off to help with my mom and her care. And I can't wait to tell you more about my mom, Marianne, in a couple more slides. And so, again, we need to invest so we have this financial flexibility. And reason number five is this may be you, a first generation career woman who it may be the main breadwinner, who is earning money for a household, helping to support the household, supporting a retirement plan for the first time. So you may be a first generation career woman. And so managing money is just a new topic in your family and even in your family lineage. And that's exactly why you're here today. And so, what I typically in my webinars, and I typically offer complimentary webinars. They likely will be added to YouTube, but if you add yourself to my email list, then you will hear about these monthly webinars. And I usually start off with an inspiring book. And so, Women, Money, and Power by Josie Cox is one of my favorite books. She uses stories of women to talk about the financial history of women, starting in the 1940s when women joined the workforce during World War II. And then she talks about some of the progress and some of the steps back with women's economic equality. I love the quote, how we invest equals real financial power. And so, ladies, that's what we're talking about with investing. And 5 key pain points. Let's talk about if these resonate with you and if these are some of the reasons that you're here listening to this masterclass. So number one is you don't have a financial plan. And sure, you're just way too busy running your business. And so we're going to talk about this. You might not have any organization with your finances. And your answer is, I am a do it yourself gal, and I have accounts all over the place, and I just tend to open an account when I need one, and I don't really have a unified strategy or a unified plan. Another reason maybe you have irregular income, and maybe that's one of the reasons that you think I can't invest. I have a regular income, and often this is what I hear from entrepreneurs. Another pain point that I hear is you don't have a retirement plan. Well, you don't need one because my business is my retirement. And then another one is a matter of time. You are busy with your business, you're busy with your family, and you don't have consistency. So what about if I told you that today you could change all of these pain points by following the 5 steps that we are going to talk about? And why you're here as busy women entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur, and there are days when I have those reasons for why different areas of my life are disorganized. So you can imagine that I am well organized on the money front, which is why I'm here as your financial coach. But some of these other reasons why I'm not, why I feel this way about other areas. So you may feel some fear about, maybe a misstep and where you might make some costly mistakes. And this is why investing, you may have some fear around it. You may feel overwhelmed at the thought of organizing. You are so focused on your business finances that your personal finances fall to the wayside. You may feel like you're not really sure where your money is going, how to manage it, or how to make it work for you effectively. And we are going to talk about how to make your money work for you while you sleep. This is part of the power of investing. You may feel disconnected from your finances, and you just may want to avoid them entirely. They just may cause stress, and you're right here where you belong. And then you also just may feel a bit intimidated by investing, not knowing where to start or why it matters. There's also a whole lot of jargon. And what I try to do is to simplify the process. I try to limit the amount of jargon and just make it easy for you to understand. And what I want to emphasize and why you're here for this masterclass is the power of investing, step-by-step investing. And yes, it is a step-by-step method that anybody can learn. It's available for everybody. Is the most powerful way to create financial freedom and to build wealth alongside your business. So we're going to talk about several of the strategies about why this is, but let's just first, I want to show you some numbers. This is the slide that has the most amount of numbers. And what I want to point out is just the power of investing over time. And I want to focus on 10 years and 20 years. So on the left side, we have time periods, and then we have dollar amounts. So this is an amount that's invested in the S&P 500. This is the main index of the 500 companies, the largest by market capitalization. Let's just think about it as the 500 largest companies. And that's why it's diversified, because there are actually slightly less than 500 that make up the S&P 500. And the average return over decades is about 8%. So using these numbers over a 10-year period, $50,000 doubles to more than $100,000. And the idea is that you invest $50,000 and it doubles over the next 10 years by not touching it. And the idea is while you sleep, $50,000 turns into more than $100,000. Let's talk about as you grow and you scale and you add more money to your account. $200,000 over 10 years grows into $400,000. Let's talk about 20 years. And this is the importance of time. And when you can let your money grow in the financial market over time, $50,000 turns into more than $200,000. So you start today, and if you calculate your age and then you add 20 years to it, if you can contribute, and let's say it's $25,000 or $50,000. So $25,000 turns into $100,000, and $50,000 turns into $200,000. And this is why I don't want you to wait to invest. I want you to think about and to consider investing small amounts over time. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And why am I here as your financial coach? So I call myself Wall Street Insider turned financial coach, is that I started my career at JP Morgan as a research analyst. I actually spent the first 10 years of my career as a China specialist, and I lived in China for 4 years. I then worked as a financial advisor at Citigroup, and I was there during the financial crisis. And I was there when the CEO on a Friday said to us, if your clients call to move their assets, tell them that their assets are safe. And this was the time that every week after Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, that there were questions about the viability of different financial firms. And so I was there over that weekend when the government announced the bailout of Citigroup. And I was there step by step with my clients through this process. And so financial crises, financial stress in the market, financial or ups and downs in the market, I have that experience as a financial advisor, and then most recently as a portfolio strategist at Fidelity. And what that means is I spoke with clients and I helped to create portfolios and walk clients through the key events and key trends with different investment categories. And so my background is related to financial markets. I was a China specialist with emerging markets. I am trained as, I have a certificate in digital assets, and that's Bitcoin and other related cryptocurrencies. I have a certificate in alternative investments, so I can talk about the different types of investments. And the idea is that I'm able to simplify them and make them easy to understand for clients. And I get excited about it. And this is why I say why investing matters to me. And then I'm a trained certified financial planner. But what I want you to know, and what I think will resonate with you, is really my mom's story. And I want to go back to Mary Ann. I'm the youngest of four children. And when I was 2 years old, my mom needed to make the tough decision with four young children, whether to stay or to leave my father. She decided to leave my father, and she was frozen out of the bank account. And at that time, there was one bank account. And as a result, she had to start over completely from scratch. And so she juggled three different jobs to get us back on our feet. And this experience instilled in me the importance of hard work, the importance of financial independence, in the importance of financial education. I knew that I didn't want money to hold me back. And when I work with clients, I never want money to be the reason that holds back my clients. And so Mary from the Bronx continues to be an inspiration today, and she is doing great and lives in Boston. And then I also, I graduated from Harvard undergrad. I studied Asian studies, and then I have my MBA from Chicago Booth. Next, I want to talk about my personal money story. And really, and this may resonate with you, of can she really understand where I'm coming from? Well, when I graduated from Chicago Booth, where I studied the financial crisis, yes, I landed my dream job, my dream financial job. And I want to let you know that I was pretty surprised to learn that I was $120,000 in debt. And I remember that when I used to check my student loan portal, that my hands would get clammy, my heart would start to palpitate, and I would feel so much anxiety. I couldn't believe that here I was with my graduate degree, $120,000 in debt. And I knew that I would have to figure out how to get myself out of debt. And then I was determined to not let money hold me back. Remember my story with my mom and my determination that I would not let money hold me back. That is when I would actually work on the weekends as the overachiever that I am on investment ideas for clients. And one Sunday, it finally dawned on me, wait, why am I not investing for myself? That it is going to be these investment ideas focused on my investment account that are going to help me get out of this hole and really start the process of building wealth. And so if you need permission to invest and to start building wealth for yourself, then this is the story for you. And so my turning point was when I decided to focus on investing for myself. And when I speak on stages, I talk about that I took $1,000. At that time, that was the amount of a student loan payment. And there was a company that was on the verge of bankruptcy. And I decided to invest in that. At this time, I had a number of investments in my small growing portfolio. And that $1,000 over a 2-year period of time turned into $50,000. And this is the power of investing over time. And so this is why I'm excited to share that there is a step-by-step process of building wealth, and I'm here to show you that. And so let's talk about today 5 investment strategies where you can start with no financial plan, and we're going to talk about a wealth building plan. You can start with no organization of your accounts, and I'm going to talk you through the personal finance warrior money flow system. You can tell me about your irregular income, and we're going to talk about a special account to address the key concern that I hear from entrepreneurs. You can tell me you don't have a retirement plan, and I'm going to tell you a strategy for how to 10x your retirement. And you may say, Kelly, I just don't have time and I don't have consistency. And we're going to talk about a strategy for monthly consistency. So let's continue. So Reese Witherspoon, she may be one of your favorites. She is absolutely one of my favorites. And every year she has an annual conference called Shine Away. And one of the questions that she talked about was, how comfortable are you talking about, or how comfortable are you talking about money? And she shared that when she was growing up in Tennessee, that it was, you were shamed for talking about money, that it was impolite and it would be shameful to talk about money. And now she is an advocate of how important it is for women to talk about money. And so her quote, financial conversations between women should be the norm. And so this is my first point here is we don't learn about personal finance in high school or college, and women often aren't talking about money. And this is why we need financial education so that we can focus more about the world of money. And then the idea is we want more women to talk about money with each other. And I'm so glad that you're here. And I want you to continue to watch my videos, but I'm an advocate that perhaps today is the catalyst for you to talk about money with more people. So step number 1, from no plan to a financial plan. And so I'm going to talk about a financial plan, and I'm going to use the term a wealth building plan, because I want you to think about that you truly can start to build wealth, and it starts with a plan. And what does a plan include? Now, when I work with clients, I work one-on-one with clients and I help them design financial plans. They can be much more detailed than this, but I want to give you some action steps to start today. And so first is I would like you to include financial goals. And these are all personal with each person. And what I want you to have is short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. So I want to encourage you to think about 3-month goals, 6-month goals, and 1-year goals. So 3 months is really your next quarter. If you're an entrepreneur, that we think about quarters, And what are your goals over the next 3 months? And you may have these and you may write these down. Next, I want you to think about 6 months. And that means that if you're at the beginning of the year, then I want you to think about for the first half of the year. If you're at the middle of the year, I want you to think about what it looks like for, towards the end of the year. 6 months gives us more time to execute on our goals. And then 1 year is a year from today. From when you are watching this video, I want you to think about what are your goals. And that gives you a year. And financial goals include for your business. It also includes for your personal life. And we are going to talk about in step number 2, where I want you to put more numbers around some of these accounts that we're going to talk about as a sneak preview. But really what I want you to think about and to think bigger about are these financial goals. I would like you to write them down, and I want you to keep them near you. So you may have a journal that you use for your business, and I want you to have your 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a $1 million business, I want you to write that down every day. And then importantly with your financial plan is I want you to think 3 to 5 years out. And 5 years, this is where we want to think bigger. Where do we want to go with our financial goals? How big do we want our business to be? When we talk about accounts, what do we want? What do we think about for the amount that we want in our accounts? If you're looking at property, do you want to buy your first house, home, condo? Maybe you're ready and you're thinking about investment properties, and maybe then you're like, I want to have a down payment for whether it's a seasonal property, if you want a winter house and you want to go skiing, if you want a summer house and you want a beach house, it may be an Airbnb that you want to have a property so that you can finally, a lot of people talk about having a rental property is that you finally have that rental property. And 5 years, and some people think 5 years is too long, maybe 3 years, but the idea is that you're able to give yourself a longer runway. And this is why you create a financial plan is if you don't have these specific goals and you're moving towards some type of target, but it's not defined, well, you're just less likely to achieve those goals. So we do want well-defined financial goals, and this is what's included in your wealth building plan so that you can get started. So step number 1 is a financial plan, and it can be you have the piece of paper that you're writing down today. And I do want to encourage you to have, and you can push pause. You also through this video can do this as we go along. I love action steps. So as you continue to learn from me, it is not just about learning and thinking about ideas. I'm about action, and I want to make sure that you are taking action. And so whether you need a journal or a notebook or paper to write down, if you have your phone where you're writing down some of these goals, or your iPad. Sometimes that I think that's a great idea when you may be watching a video on your computer and then having an iPad to take notes. But this is the key step. This is the key first step to have a financial plan. So step number 2, and I have to admit, this is my favorite. And part of it is because I created this money flow system. Do you have a money system? Most women I talk to do not have a money system. So we're going to talk about some of the key steps of the Personal Finance Warrior money flow system. I work one-on-one with clients and I help them to create this customized version. I'm going to give you the key 3 steps when I work with clients. There's a few more steps, but we want to take action with 3 steps. So what I'm going to walk through them, and then you can decide how you want to structure your personal money flow system. So I'm giving you the Personal Finance Warrior money flow system, but I want you to put your name on it and to create the money flow system. And why I call it a money flow system is we want there to be flow among these accounts over time. And you may not be able to do that when you set this up, but the goal is that there is money flowing among these accounts. So let's talk about it here. So first is your bank account. So the core of your money flow system is that it's where money is coming in and money is going out. So your bank account could be your checking account, and this is for your business. And so money is coming in and money is going out. It's typically a bank account where you are receiving 0% interest. And so this is the functional bank account. And so that is the core of your money system. The second step is the emergency savings account. And so I want you to have this emergency savings for your business. And I want this in a high interest savings account. And so people ask me, Kelly, I am not getting any type of interest on my bank account. How do I want to think about this? So I want you to think about your emergency account, the money that you are able to set aside in this high interest savings account. So it's around 3.5% to 4%. Those are the interest rates. And the idea is that when you set up an online transfer, you can take advantage of some of these online accounts. And so that's where I want you to think about. It's not about an ATM where you may be able to take money. The idea is one of these online accounts, and you definitely want it to be the FDIC insured. And you can just actually put that in Google to make sure if you come across a name and have a question about that, and around that 3.5% to 4%. And then step 3 is your investment account. And that is your retirement account and your investment account. Now, we're going to talk about setting up a retirement account as an entrepreneur. And then an investment account. For some of you, you may not yet have an investment account. And so and I want to just make the distinction, you may have a 401k plan from a previous employer. And if you're an entrepreneur, that means that you are working at a company. And typically, it's still held with that employer. When you roll it over, it becomes a rollover IRA. And what it means is it moves from that company's 401k, and it means that company's menu. So that company creates a menu for its employees, and that becomes that 401k plan. And when you move it into what I call one of the supermarkets, and there are 3 large supermarkets, and they are Fidelity, Schwab, and Vanguard. And I want you to think about any of these large accounts. And why I call them supermarkets is because there's so much selection. Just like a large grocery store, you have a wide selection and typically lower prices. And so compared to boutique firms, that they have a smaller selection, typically a certain menu of choices, and they may have boutique pricing. There may be a wrap fee. There just may be different fees involved. So with supermarkets right now, there are no cost trades. And those are the 3 largest ones. And I have experience with all of them. And so it is up to you to determine maybe which one from the user interface you may feel more comfortable with. If you're looking at this for the first time and you don't have an investment account, sometimes it's called a brokerage account. You think, okay, Kelly, so I have a bank account. Okay, I hear you on the high interest savings account. I have a retirement account. You're going to talk about a specific account for retirement for women entrepreneurs. But an investment account, I don't yet have one. And so step number 3 is to open that. And then with your money flow system is with the emergency savings account, you want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in that. And so what you want to have is an understanding of how much money that you're paying, how much money do you need for your business every month. And then you want to multiply that over, 3 to 6 months. And especially for the number one concern that I have with clients, which I'm going to address next, that this number 2 is key. And then number 3 is, especially once that emergency savings, you have that 3 to 6 months of expenses, I want you to be making monthly transfers into your retirement account and your investment account. So you might say, wait, Kelly, I'm not even making transfers into my retirement account. Well, we're going to talk about how to set that up. And I want you to think about making that transfer, monthly transfer into your investment account. Now, another key point with your money flow system is it can be small amounts. It can be $25, it can be $50. The idea is I want you to set up your money flow system. And as I talked about, the money flow system is the setup of this automation. Okay. And so right now you can write down, you don't need to set up this full system. Different people are going to be watching this and have different parts of this. And the great news is, as you take steps, you can watch this video again, and then you can continue with the next step. I don't want you to be overwhelmed that I don't have all of these steps for my money flow system. Everything that I teach is a step-by-step process. And so these are the 3 key steps of the Personal Finance Warrior money flow system. And so let's talk about a client example of how they've set up their wealth building plan and their Personal Finance Warrior money flow system. So let's talk about Tanya. So Tanya is a marketing specialist and she is a contractor. And so she was so successful working with a client that she was working for an agency, and then a client said, will you do some work for us? And so that is when she transitioned to be a contractor. So she is one busy lady working with multiple clients. And her key pain points were she was so busy, money was all over the place. She was not maximizing her retirement plan, and she just felt like she needed guidance and she needed some hand holding to make sure that she took action. And I want to call that accountability. She wanted that accountability. So let's talk about her success story. So first is she had $50,000 in cash that she finally moved to investments. And so she did have it in a high interest savings account. Just the idea is that she then was able to transition to investments so that it was working for her. And let me tell you, 50,000 wasn't just in one account. There were different amounts kind of scattered across accounts. She had 3 different accounts at 3 different firms. And that was part of how she kind of cobbled together this amount. And it shocked her that she had this size of cash sitting on the sidelines. So she established this money system so that she could make these transfers to her investment and retirement accounts consistently. Again, her money in a way was all over the place. She consolidated 10 accounts to 4 accounts. And again, when you walk through this money system and you realize your money is all over the place, I want you to follow these key 3 steps. Now, she did not have an emergency account for her business. And she then was able to transition some of the money on the sidelines because it actually was just sitting in her bank account. And then she transitioned that amount into a high interest savings account because she was concerned as an entrepreneur about if there was maybe a gap between the clients that she was working with. And she now has a 5-year financial plan. And most importantly, instead of the anxiety of feeling like my money is all over the place and I'm not doing enough with my money, she has peace of mind that her money is working for her while she is sleeping. And so this is the power of a financial plan, of your wealth building plan, and the peace of mind with having a money system, a money flow system in place. So I had alluded to the number one problem I hear from women entrepreneurs. I don't know how much income my business will bring in each month, says every woman entrepreneur. So I just want you to know that you're not alone. And we're going to talk about this since irregular income is one of the key concerns. And I want to give you a way to address this. So the solution to irregular income is, we talked about this as step 2 in the money flow system, is an emergency savings account for your business. And I want to let you know that I think that a lot of women entrepreneurs may call it something different. I want to give you the term of an emergency savings account, 3 to 6 months of business expenses. in this account. It's in a separate account from that bank account where money is flowing in and flowing out. I would like it in ideally an online bank account that is generating in a high interest savings account that is generating that higher level of interest. And the idea is that you can dip into this, that once you create your money system where you're automating or you're creating regular transfers, when you have a regular income, I want you to dip into this emergency savings account. So I want you to create that consistency. And when you say, well, I get nervous that I have a regular income, that's why this step 2 in the money system is this emergency savings account, so that you can dip into that and into that special account. And then I want you to monitor that account. So say, for example, say 3 months from now, you need to dip into that account. The next month, I want you to replenish it. So if you need to have 3 to 6 months, whatever that dollar amount is for you, let's say that it is, let's say it's $10,000 a month and you want $30,000. If you need to dip in $5,000, I want you to add to that. And so the idea is that with this emergency savings, that you keep it at that higher level, that you keep it at that level so you can dip into that. And then let's talk about step number 4, and it's related to this money system. Often I hear that women entrepreneurs do not have a retirement plan for their business. So that's what we're going to talk about in step 4. So this is the 4th investment strategy that women entrepreneurs aren't often talking about. And there's an opportunity to 10x your retirement with your 401k plan as an entrepreneur. So let's talk about it and let's break down the details here. And so as a business owner, there are several options for you to choose for a retirement plan. I'm going to keep it simple here, and I'm going to focus on the solo 401k plan. In the show notes there's an article that I wrote about the different different retirement options, and this one is typically the ideal option, and I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of it. And so it's called a solo 401k plan, and it's available at the large supermarkets. You open it up, it sits basically beside your retirement account. And what it is you are the employee and you are the employer. And there's a lengthy document for you to fill out and online. And when you do this, and then you'll see the details of it, how it's set up. The key is that you can add tens of thousands of dollars to this account compared to a traditional IRA. So let's walk through this. So a traditional IRA is you can contribute $7,000. If you're over 50, you can contribute $8,000. And so this is if you, a Roth IRA has different details to it, including there's an income threshold to it, especially for married people. If you can qualify for that, then that may be a great option. I'm really, I want to focus on the main choice here, but I'm going to give some asterisks because if this applies to you, then you can do a little bit more research. And so the traditional IRA is often what entrepreneurs think about. I can contribute that $7,000. Well, when you open a solo 401k plan, as I mentioned, you are both the employer, you are the employee and the employer. So you get to add, double of what the established amount is. So typically 401k plans are held at companies, and 23,500 is the maximum. And because you qualify as the employer and the employee, you get to double that. And the key is, and this is based on earned income. And so as long as, and let's take the prime example. So if you are an entrepreneur and you're earning $100,000, then it may be a stretch that say $25,000. But if you were at a company, you're maxed out at that 23,500. When you run your own business, there's an incentive to contribute even more. And so you can contribute up to $70,000. It's $69,000. We'll round up. $70,000 per year. And let's give a better example. If you are an entrepreneur making $200,000 and you're in a place where you could maximize your retirement, you can contribute up to $70,000 to the solo 401k plan in a year and receive the tax benefits of that. And so we know with entrepreneurs, there are lots of tax incentives to take advantage of, and I have other webinars that talk about that. In particular, there is a double win for this, that you can contribute up to $70,000 per year and receive those tax benefits. Now, if you tell me, Kelly, I'm in the early stage of business building, I'm not yet profitable, I don't necessarily need to worry about tax benefits. Okay, I want you to set up this solo 401k plan, and I want you to get in the habit of making allocations. And so even though you may not benefit from the tax benefits, you're scaling your business, and you will over time. And what we want to do with these 5 investment strategies is I want you to know about them. I want you to see how you can implement them in your business today. And if you're not yet ready with some of the steps, I want you to know about them. These are key wealth building steps. And then I want you, as you scale your business, to take steps towards these. And that is also the power of watching these master classes so that you can be informed. And when we use the example with Reese Witherspoon is ideally sharing this with other women entrepreneurs. Hey, did you know that we could add so much more to our retirement plan as entrepreneurs? Let me tell you more. You may even want to share this video. And so, as I mentioned, this article talks about and highlights some of the broader choices that you have, but the solo 401k is really is one of the biggest winners for women entrepreneurs, and we often aren't talking about it. We aren't saying, hey, you can 10x your retirement, and I am here so that you are informed of what this huge opportunity is to build up your retirement. And I want to talk about another success story with Dr. Mary. And so she was her business, she 300,000 in revenue. So she was well on her way to scaling her business. And I want to talk about her money was all over the place. She was so focused on scaling her business. She said, I need to take a breather and I need to organize my money right now. So we work together. I typically work with one-on-one clients over a 90-day period to transform their financial life. And so let's talk about what we did with Dr. Mary. First is she wasn't aware that instead of having that emergency savings account, she was using her credit cards, and sometimes she was paying them off and sometimes she wasn't. And so she just was rolling over that amount. And as you may be aware, the credit cards can be over 20%. So she didn't even realize that she had $50,000 spread out over a couple of credit cards at 24%. So that was the first action step we absolutely needed to move that into. She was running a thriving business, so we were able to open some 0% credit cards with an 18-month time frame. So we were able to move that from 24% to 0%. So that is a key hack. If you can open a 0% interest credit card and then use that over time carefully, because you still have to repay that amount. You can do a credit card rollover for certain dollar amounts. Again, she was able to open several accounts, several new credit cards, so we could roll over that amount. And so that's just a strategy to consider. So we created an easy money system so that she had more clarity with this money flow. And we consolidated 10 accounts to 4 accounts. And so one of the reasons that I talk about this money system is often there's a lot of anxiety about how do I consolidate my accounts. And this is one of my specialties when I create a financial plan with clients is because there is a lot of uncertainty and as it about how to do this, how this works. And even as an industry insider, I am aware of how accounts work, where maybe some of the sticky points are. And so I'm able to advise clients on this. And then Dr. Mary was able to 10x her retirement contribution. So she was making she was contributing $3,000 a year. So good for Dr. Mary. She absolutely had a very strong financial foundation. And once we opened that solo 401k plan, we were able to 10x her retirement. So we went from 3,000 to 30,000. And so that's a great start for her in significantly increasing her 401k plan, her solo 401k plan. And then I'm going to talk about this option. I'm going to talk about this idea as the bonus item, but she hired her child. So stay tuned. We'll hear more about that. So step number 5, which I have alluded to, is setting up monthly recurring transfers. So this is part of the your personalized money flow system. And you may do this in some areas, right? You have online bill pay where you're paying your bills every month. You may pay off your credit cards every month. If you've been to one of my longer webinars where I focus on more details with my money flow system, that is a key component of that, is having a way to manage your money on a monthly basis. And so here with step 5 is I want you to be setting up automated monthly transfers. And so some people talk about this as automation and they make it sound make it sound intimidating and scary. What I really want to talk to you about is just it's a step-by-step process. And you can start with the first 2 steps. You can add the third one and the fourth one. And what I really want to emphasize is that small amounts matter. You can start with $10. You can start with $25. What I want you to do is I just want you to set up these monthly transfers because as your business scales, you can add more. Wow. When I realize at the end of the month, I have hundreds of dollars more at the end of the month. So then you can feel more comfortable with, I'm going to add, instead of $25, I'm going to change it to $50. And then when more money is coming in, wow, I have $1,000 left over at the end of the month or extra, or I've had a banner month and there may be thousands, then I want you to add more. But step by step by step. And as you continue to watch videos from me, that is what my process is. It is, I try to simplify and give you step-by-step process so that we remove the overwhelm, we remove any of the extra effort, and we remove any of the intimidation from the process. And so first is, are you paying yourself? And so step 5 is that reminder. For some entrepreneurs, you're not even paying yourself. And what I want you to think about is pay yourself $100 a month. I just want you to get into the process of paying yourself first. And as you grow and scale your business, there are more financial incentives in the way that you structure that. But I do want you to start with that. Next is taxes. I do want you to have that account, and that may be in a secondary account, again, part of the broader money system. But I don't want to leave out. I want you to pay, set aside some money for taxes. Then I want to make sure that you are setting up the transfer to your retirement account, that solo 401k plan that you've set up for your account that we've talked about, and your investment account. And Kelly, how do I want to think about my retirement account versus my investment account? Now, your retirement account, one of the key benefits is that you get that tax benefit. And then the idea is that ideally it grows over time and there are restrictions for taking the money out. And so that's part of the good news is there are some restrictions on it so that your money is growing over time. And this is where that 20-year window comes up. With an investment account, and this is what I call your financial flexibility account. When you are adding money to your investment account, you're creating that account that you can dip into for big ticket purchases, for those vacations. So ideally, I don't want you dipping into your emergency savings account for that. With your when you have your organized money flow system, the idea is with your investment account, as it's growing, you may be able to dip into that. If you need flexibility with taking time off for children, that investment account is growing over time. If you need time to take care of an aging parent, you have that money working for you. And I'll share a story that I'll never forget, the time that my phone rang at 5 a.m. You know that that's never a good call. And my sister's voice was on the other side of it, and her voice was trembling. And she said, Jeff has been in a car accident and he is in the trauma center with a brain bleed, and we don't know if he's going to make it. And I knew right away that I could fly out to be with my sister, that I had an investment account that was growing alongside, as an entrepreneur that I am growing alongside. I could dip into that to pay for a plane ticket. It didn't matter what the cost was. And then if I needed, and then if depending on Jeff's recovery, her husband, then I wanted to be there, and I may need to take time off so I could focus on spending time with my family. So the great news is that her husband made a miraculous recovery, and I was able to fly out and be there to spend time with my sister during this very stressful time. And again, I had this financial flexibility account that I could dip into. And so this is the power of this investment account. And so this is why with your money flow system, I want you to be adding small amounts each month as part of this monthly recurring transfer. So I guess it's a bit of a mouthful. And so just monthly transfers. And so I may change that because I didn't realize that that's just a bit of a mouthful. And over time, you'll be able to increase the amount as your business grows. And so these are the 5 steps of 5 key investment strategies that women entrepreneurs aren't told. And I'm going to add one more bonus. And so let me go back to, let's just talk about this. And so as a bonus, and I had talked about with Dr. Mary that there's an opportunity for women entrepreneurs to hire your kids. There are special incentives for business entrepreneurs where you can hire your children. And first is, it depends on the state that you live in. So whether you're in California, North Carolina, Massachusetts, they all have different requirements. In California, because of child actors, there's actually a very flexible rule on hiring your children. As when you run your own business, you fall into a special designation where you have that opportunity to hire your kids. You may need a work permit for your kids. In North Carolina, there's a lot of flexibility with the age of it. In Massachusetts, it's quite strict. So you want to check state by state, and you can pay them to work in the business. And so we know that kids are so savvy on social media. And so there's an opportunity that they can help you with your social media. And what I want to point out is that there's an opportunity to open a Roth IRA, and that this account can be the Roth IRA with investments that grow over time. And so whether with the Roth IRA, they use that for college, or whether they just allow that to grow over time. And so this is one of the key ways to start building wealth for your kids. And just want to point out that with the Roth IRA, it falls into that annual criteria of the maximum is $7,000 per year, but this is a bonus item. And so what I wanted to share is, this is Dr. Mary. What she did is she was able to hire her child and started a Roth IRA for her son. And so these are just some of the ways that I work with clients as part of this overall financial plan, organizing accounts, and then understanding what some of the wealth building opportunities are. So today we talked about 5 investment strategies, and I call them wealth building strategies. And this is part of having an overall financial plan. So step one is, if you started without a financial plan, I have given you the building blocks to create a financial plan that has financial goals over different time periods so that you can really think much bigger about about your about where you how you want to build wealth. Let's just say that. And yes, I'm giving you permission. I've shared with my story. I'm giving you permission and encouraging you to think about building wealth. I call it a wealth building plan. Number two, going from accounts all over the place to creating a personal finance warrior money flow system. And the answer really is your own. Put your name of a money flow system. You want to create one that works for you and that's easy to manage. We talked about the number one concern that entrepreneurs have is irregular income. And we talked about that special account, that emergency savings account for your business. And that's where you can dip into for this irregular income. And so next is, some women say, I don't have a retirement plan. And we talked about the key benefits in setting up that solo 401k plan at one of the big supermarkets, Fidelity, Schwab, or Vanguard. There are other fintech platforms. There's lots of different choices out there. I call them the supermarkets since they are the largest and the most well-known. And typically with the largest and most well-known is they have the highest security measures. And so that's also something that is important. And the idea is that you can significantly increase the amount that you're contributing to your retirement plan for that amount of money that will be growing over time, and that the tax benefits is part of it. And then the key is consistency. So having a financial plan, having your personalized money system, having that emergency savings account that you can dip into will allow you to create these monthly transfers, automated monthly transfers, so that you can feel confident that you are building wealth over time and that with financial markets, your money is working for you. And what I want to encourage you to think about is that financial markets, what I like to say with clients, is the financial foundation. Once you set up an account and you invest in it, that money is growing for you effortlessly while you sleep. It may be the next step as part of your financial goals. You may want an investment property. You may want to diversify and think about more types of investments. I work with clients and we talk about different investment strategies as part of your financial foundation. This is what I want you to focus on. And these are the key steps that I find that women are not talking about money with each other. And again, we don't learn about personal finance in high school. We don't learn about personal finance in college. And so we want to watch masterclasses. We do want to focus on financial education so that we can be informed as possible about how, as women entrepreneurs, we can build wealth over time and in a step-by-step process that's available for everybody. Yes, there's lots of fast-track solutions. There's lots of maybe higher risk types of strategies. And with my background coming from the investment industry, I've worked with clients really over decades on how to build wealth in a step-by-step manner. So I just want to encourage you that you're going to see that consistency with me and my style of teaching. And so today, I also just want to give you the opportunity that you may be in a state of, having more investment questions and the goal that you want to invest with confidence. So I just want to give you one more step. There's an opportunity. I have a 30-day Her Money Challenge. And so it's free. It's an email challenge. And so the idea is once you sign up, you'll receive an automated email every day. And there is a step-by-step process, talks more about setting up an investment account, money mindset, best practices right in your email. And then you'll have an opportunity to learn more about my style. My idea is I'm here to develop trust with you as I actually call my audience personal finance warriors. So you have now participated in a masterclass. And so it is great to be with you, personal finance warrior. So I am not the personal finance warrior. I train women entrepreneurs to be personal finance warriors. And I probably should have an image of Wonder Woman, the warrior, because that's really the spirit of it. And the idea is it's about courage to learn about investing, and it's about the mastery of it's an ongoing learning process to understand how to build wealth. The great news is it's a step by step process. And I'm here as your guide, as the Wall Street insider turned financial coach to guide you. So, subscribe to my channel here and add yourself to this 30-day Her Money Challenge. And I just am so excited to be your guide so that you can build wealth with confidence.